Hello students, in today's class let us continue with the chapter sequence and series. Till last class we were discussed about arithmetic progression, geometric progression, arithmetic mean, geometric mean, and also few problems on sum to n terms of some special series. And in the last class I have given you the clues and hints to solve problems from miscellaneous exercise till question number 15. So in today's class, the same way I am going to give you the hints to solve the problems from question number 16 till 32, and you are going to solve the problems. So let us move on to the 16th question now. If a into 1 by b plus 1 by c, b into 1 by c plus 1 by a, c into 1 by a plus 1 by b are in AP, prove that a, b, c are in AP. So these kinds of problem we have done already. It is given this is in AP. If a sequence in AP, what we know, it will have a common difference. What is a common difference? Second term minus first term will be equal to third term minus second term. Likewise it goes on. So you can obtain a relation from this, right? So it is given this is in AP. What does it mean? This term minus this term will be equal to third term minus second term. Now try to simplify this and take out the common terms and simplify it further in order to prove that what you need to prove. A, B, C are in AP. A, B, C are in AP means what does it mean? They have a common difference, which means you need to prove B minus A is equals to C minus B. This is a very easy problem. Just you simplify this, multiply this, take LCM and take the common term out. You can take A, B as common, so you will get B minus A plus C into B square minus A square. Again you can apply A plus B into A minus B formula here. Again you take common terms out. If you simplify directly, you will arrive at the required answer, right? Let us move on to the next question now. Your next question is, if A, B, C, D are in GP, prove that A power n plus B power n, B power n plus C power n, C power n plus D power n are in GP. Again, if the four terms are in GP, what do you know? They have a common ratio, which means B by A equals to C by B equals to D by C, right? And we need to prove that this is in GP, which means what you need to prove? B power n plus C power n divided by A power n plus B power n, which is same as C power n plus D power n divided by B power n plus C power n. That's what we need to prove, right? So if we know what is A, B, C, D, we can find and substitute the values in the required thing. See, A, B, C, D are in GP is given. So what will be the general form of GP? We will assume A R squared, AR cube. So B is AR, C is going to be AR squared, D is going to be AR cube, right? So now we need to prove that this is in GP, which means this by this should be equal to this by this. Now we can find what is A power n, B power n. A power n is going to be A power n only. B power n is going to be AR the whole power n. C power n is AR squared the whole power n. D power n is AR cube the whole power n, right? Once you find the values, you can substitute in B power n plus C power n divided by A power n and B power n. You can find, simplify it, you will get one answer. Keep it aside. Similarly, substitute the values for this and check whether are you getting both as the same answer. Then you can tell these two are same, therefore these values are in GP, right? Hope you understood. Let us move on to our next question, 18th one. The question is, if A, B are the roots of this equation and C, D are roots of this equation where A, B, C, D form a GP, prove that. This sort of question also we have done already in the exercise. How we will relate the roots with the quadratic equation? We know sum of the roots is minus b by a. If ax square plus bx plus c is the standard form of a quadratic equation, right? So sum of the roots is minus coefficient of x divided by coefficient of x squared. Product of the roots is constant term divided by coefficient of x square. Hope you remember. We have learnt like this. sum of the roots alpha plus beta is minus b by a, alpha beta is c by a. So here they have given instead of alpha beta a and b. So a plus b is going to be minus b by a, already minus is there, so it is going to be 3 by 1. Coefficient of x squared is 1, so it is going to be just 3. AB, product of the roots is going to be just p, because p divided by 1, coefficient of x square is 1. So a plus b is 3, ab is p. Similarly, c and d are the roots of this equation. So c plus d is going to be 12, cd is going to be q. Right? We have obtained 4 things now. And also it is given a, b, c, d form a GP, which means b by a equal to c by b equal to d by c, and moreover we know the value of b is ar, value of c is ar squared, value of d is ar cube. Right? So these are all the things we know. We found what is a plus b, we found what is ab, c plus d, cd, and we know what is b, c, d. Now we need to prove that q plus p is to q minus p equal to 17 is to 15. This is what we need to prove. So for that we need to find what is q plus p. What is q plus p? Q is cd, p is ab. But what is c and d? Ar squared plus ar cube plus a into ar. So it has become a squared r power 5 plus a squared r. So what will be q minus p? Q minus p is going to be a squared r power 5. I am sorry, here it is minus. This is minus, I am sorry. This is minus, right? Q minus p, a squared r power 5 minus a squared r. Right? Now, in order to find the value for this, we need to know what is our a and what is our r. So we need to find our a and r. How are we going to find our a and r? For that we have 2 equations. A plus b and c plus d. What is a plus b? A plus ar. C plus d is ar squared plus ar cube. We know these values. So if we simplify these 2 equations, we can find what is our r. Once we know our r, we can very well find our a by substituting in any one of these equations. But we have 2 values for r, so you have to find 2 values for a as well. Right? Then substitute a and r in these 2 equations so that you can find the ratio between these 2 values and check whether are you getting 17 is to 15. I repeat what we did here. They have given a and b are the roots of this quadratic equation. So we found the relationship between a plus b, ab. Similarly c plus d and cd, and they have given these are in GP. Now they asked you to prove that the ratio between these 2 is 17 is to 15. So we need the ratio of this. So first we found what is q plus p. In terms of a and r we arrived at. So we need to know the value of a and r here. So in order to find the value of a and r, again we get back to this and we simplified these 2 equations to find our a and r. Once you got your a and r, substitute here so that you can find what is q plus p and q minus p. Check are you getting the ratio as 17 is to 15. That's it. Right? Hope you understood. Let us move on to our next question now. Now we are in 19th question. The ratio of the AM and GM of 2 positive numbers A and B is M is to N. Show that A is to B equal to this. Right? So the ratio of AM and GM of 2 positive numbers is given. We know what is AM and GM. AM is A plus B by 2. GM is square root of AB. Right? So it is given AM and GM are M is to N. So M is what? AM, A plus B by 2. GM is square root of AB. It is given the ratio between AM and GM is M is to N. So A plus B by 2 is to square root of AB is M is to N. We can express that in fraction, right? So A plus B divided by 2 divided by root AB. So that root AB we can write here. So A plus B divided by 2 root AB is equals to M by N. Now we need to show that the ratio between A and B is this. So in order to prove that the ratio between A and B, we need to know the value of A and B. So our aim here is to find the value of A and B. How are we going to find? The problem of this kind also we have done in the exercise. So first square on both sides, so we will get A plus B the whole square. So if you take square root on both sides, we will come to know what is A plus B. Then from A plus B the whole square, we can very well write what is A minus B the whole square. The relation between these two is A plus B the whole square minus 4AB will give you A minus B the whole square. So from this, if you do it, we can obtain what is A minus B. So we got A plus B and A minus B. If you simplify this in an elimination method or add these two equations, B will get eliminated. We will get what is the value of A. Once you get A, you can substitute it in any one of these equations to get your B. So once you get your A and B value, you can find its ratio, right? So again I repeat what we did here. We got the ratio between A and B, AM and GM. From that we obtained A plus B the whole square. Then from that we can obtain what is A plus B. Using A plus B the whole square, we can find what is A minus B the whole square and hence A minus B. Once you know A plus B and A minus B, simplify this to get the value of A. Substitute the value of A in any one of these equations to get the value of B, and then find A is to B, right? Hope you understood. Next question, your next question is 20th one. If A, B, C are in AP, B, C, D are in GP, 1 by C, 1 by D, 1 by E are in AP, prove that A, C, E are in GP. So don't get panic on looking at the question. Step by step you go ahead with your problem. Whatever is given from that, you derive few things and keep it aside and then proceed with your problem. So first step, it is given A, B, C are in AP. So what do you know immediately? They have a common difference. So B minus A equal to C minus B. From this we got 2B equal to A plus C. Keep it aside. Then it is given B, C, D are in GP. So what do you know? C by B is equal to D by C. So from this we got C square equal to BD. Then it is given 1 by C, 1 by D, 1 by E are in AP. So what do you know from this? 1 by D, they have a common difference. So second term minus first term should be equal to third term minus second term. So from this we got 1 by D, I brought it to the other side, and 1 by C to this side. So 1 by D plus 1 by D is 2 by D, which is equal to 1 by E plus 1 by C. So we got three relations now. We need to prove that A, C, E are in GP, which means we need to prove C by A is equals to E by C, or else C square is equal to AE. So how can we prove this? So what we need to prove doesn't have D. We have only C, A and E, right? So in the third relation we have a D, but we know the value for D and B in the first two equations. So what are we going to do now is substitute the value for, what is the value for D here? C square by B. So in the place of D you can substitute C square by B, and even we don't want B. The value of B we can obtain from this relation. So if you repeatedly substitute the values, you will arrive at an equation involving only A, C and E. If you simplify it, you will get it easily. So after this, what you should do? Substitute the value for D from this. So you will get C square by B. Again you will have a B there. Substitute the value for B from this equation. Why are we eliminating D and B? Because the thing what we need to prove involve only A, C, E. That's why. Right? So if you simplify the last equation, you will arrive at this relation. Hope you understood. You can do it. If you have doubts, you can ask me. Let us move on to the next question now. 21st question. Find the sum of the following series up to n terms. This I taught you already while doing problem. I told you the same sort of problem can be asked with different numbers. So I am leaving the first subdivision to you. Second subdivision is also in the same way with a slight difference. What they have given you in decimal. So if you take the number as common, you will get 0.1, 0.11, etc. but the procedure is same. Again you need to multiply and divide by 9. But now 0.9 can be written as 1 minus 0.1. This is 1 minus 0.01. Likewise it goes on. So when you split it into two series, one we will get n minus, this is a series like this. This is nothing but 1 by 10, 1 by 100, 1 by 1000. So this is again a GP with first term 1 by 10. Common ratio is also 1 by 10. Right? So apply SN formula, you will arrive at your answer. The only difference here is instead of 10, 100, we will get here 1 by 10, 1 by 100 as our series. But even then that is also a GP. Apply your SN formula, you will arrive at your solution. Right? Let us move on to our 22nd question. Find the 20th term of the series. See, understand the question properly. They didn't ask you to find S20. They didn't ask you to find sum to 20 terms. They asked you to find only the 20th term. So if we find what is our nth term of the given series, if we put n equal to 20, we will get our A20. They asked you to find only A20, 20th term. So if we analyze this series, first term is 2, 4, 6, which means all are even numbers. So 2n. Then second part is 4, 6, 8, which is 2n plus 2, right? So 2n into 2n plus 2 is our nth term. In that if you put n is equal to 20, we can find what is our 20th term. Yes, let us move on to our 23rd question. Find the sum of the first n terms of the series. The series is the series is 3 plus 7 plus 13 plus 21 plus 31 plus etc. It's going on, where if we the sort of problem we have done sum to n terms. So if we find our nth term an, then we can find our summation. But if we look at the series, it seems little difficult to arrive at our nth term because it doesn't follow any common pattern. See, 3 it is not all odd numbers. If you find the difference also it varies. So there is a procedure where we can obtain our nth term. Let us see what is it now. Now see, what are we going to do now? We need to find the Sn of this. We are going to subtract the same series from the same series. We are going to subtract Sn minus Sn, right? 3 plus 7 plus 13 plus etc. the same series. So it is not going to make any difference there. Both sides it is going to be 0, right? So 0 is equals to, what are we going to do is, we are going to keep the first term as such. And then we are going to subtract the second term of the first series with the first term of the second series. So 7 minus 3 plus 13 minus 7 plus 21 minus 31. Likewise it goes on. And the nth term of the second series we are going to retain as such because it will left, right? So here an we will get, here an minus 1. So an minus 1, the last term will be minus an. So if you see, it is 3 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8 plus etc. and it is going to be n minus 1 terms. N minus 1. Why it is n minus 1 terms? You can check from the second series, you will get a better idea. 3, 7 etc. till an minus 1 only we have. Nth term we have kept here. So we have n minus 1 terms, right? Minus an. Now if you check out this is nothing but a AP with n minus 1 terms, and A is 4 and D is 2, right? And I am going to bring this an to the other side, right? Now we need to find Sn. We know Sn formula, n by 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 times d. Now in the place of n, we need to substitute n minus 1 here, right? So if you substitute and resolve, we obtain our an. So this procedure is to get our an. As like other series which we solved so far, the nth term of the series cannot be obtained directly. So we underwent a procedure. We subtracted the same series from itself. So we obtained our an here, right? Once we obtained our AN, you know the procedure. What we will do? Sn is summation k is equal to 1 to n 1 plus k square. We will split it. We know the formula for summation sum to n terms. We know the formula for sum to squares of n terms. So you substitute, simplify it, you can obtain your Sn. Yes, hope you understood. Let us move on to our 24th question. 24th question is quite easy. They have given if S1, S2, S3 are the sum of first n natural numbers, their squares and their cubes respectively, show that. They asked you to prove some relation between S1, S2, S3, where S1 is sum of first n natural numbers, S2 is sum of their squares, S3 is sum of their cubes. We know the formula for everything, right? S1 is n into n plus 1 by 2, S2 is n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 by 6, S3 is n into n plus 1 by 2 the whole squared. So, try to substitute in this and arrive at the next one, or else you substitute the values and obtain the answer, keep it aside and check whether both are same, both are ending up with the same answer, right? Let us move on to our next question, 25. Find the sum of the following series up to n terms. They have given you a series and they asked you to find sum to n terms. So, what is the series there? 1 cube by 1, 1 cube plus 2 cube divided by 1 plus 3. Likewise, it goes on. So, what will be our nth term? 1 cube plus 2 cube plus 3 cube plus etc. till n cube divided by 1 plus 3 plus 5 etc. Since it's a odd numbers, your last term is going to be 2n minus 1. But how many terms are there? N terms are there. How many terms are there? N terms are there. Blindly you should not write 2n minus 1. This 2n minus 1 does not denote how many terms. This denotes the nth term. Nth term is going to be 2n minus 1. If the series has 3 terms, the last term is going to be 2 into 3, 6 minus 1, 5. Likewise, right? Your nth term is 2n minus 1. And if you analyze the numerator, we know the formula. For the denominator is clearly an AP, right? With first term 1 and common difference is 2 and n is going to be n. We know Sn formula. Substitute, simplify it, you will get what is your An. Once you know your An, you can find very well your Sn. See, after simplification, we arrived An as n square plus 1 plus 2n divided by 4. So, Sn is going to be, you can find summation k is equals to 1 to n, k square plus 2k plus 1 by 4. Right? Hope you understood. The next question, they asked you to show that this is equal to this. So, instead of asking to find sum to n terms, they have given you the answer out of courtesy or mercy, whatever you can say. So, they have given you the answer. So, you have to find Sn and check whether are you getting this. So, when you look at the series, they made your job easy by giving the nth term directly. So, what is the nth term? N into n plus 1 the whole square divided by n square into n plus 1. So, your Sn is going to be summation. See, don't make mistake here. You should not put summation k is equal to 1 to n for the entire term. It is not like this term common plus second term plus third term plus, not like that. The numerator is a separate series and the denominator is a separate series. So, you need to find the sum to n terms to the numerator separately, sum to n terms to the denominator separately, and then you have to divide. And it's very easy, k into k plus 1 the whole square. It all depends on your simplification and manipulations only. So, you know a plus b the whole square identity, then multiply this with k and split the summation. Similarly, the denominator. If you split it, you know the formula for everything here. Substitute, simplify and get your answer. Right? Now, let us move on to our next question, 27th. 27th is a situational problem. A farmer buys a used tractor for rupees 12,000. He pays rupees 6,000 cash and agrees to pay the balance in annual installments of rupees 500 plus 12% of interest on the unpaid amount. How much will the tractor cost him? Understand the question. The cost of a tractor is only 12,000. But the question is to find how much it will cost for that person. How much it will cost, the tractor cost him, for the farmer, how much it will cost? Because he is paying installments, monthly, not monthly installment, annual installments he is paying. So what will be your answer here? 12,000 plus the interest which he paid will give you the cost of the tractor for the farmer. So how are we going to find the cost of the tractor now? The interest paid we need to find out, right? So how he is paying his interest? He paid 6,000. So unpaid amount is going to be the remaining 6,000 only, right? So for that 6,000 he is paying 500 every year, and he is paying 12% interest on the unpaid amount. So our task here is to find the total interest he paid, right? Once we find the total interest he paid, that interest plus this 12,000 will give you the cost of the tractor. So how are we going to find it now? So unpaid amount is 6,000. So I'm sorry, this is not monthly installment, this is yearly installment. Yearly installment only given in the question. He pays yearly. How much he pays? Rupees 500 plus 12% interest of unpaid amount, right? Every year he is paying 500 plus 12% interest of unpaid amount. So first year how much he will pay? Interest paid annually. How much he will pay? First year the unpaid amount is 6,000. So first year the interest how much he will pay? 12% of 6,000. The next year he might have paid 500 this year, right? So 500 will get reduced from his unpaid amount. So it will become 5,500. So the next year what interest he will pay? 12% of 5,500. The very next year again he might have paid 500, so it will become 5,000 now. So 12% of 5,000. Likewise till he reaches 500. So what will be the total interest he paid? Sum of all these, right? So everywhere it is 12% off. Off means multiplication, right? So 12% is common, we can take it out. So we got 6,000 plus 5,500 plus till 500. We don't know how many years it is. So clearly if we write it in the other way, reverse order, we can see, visualize it clearly that it is an AP with first term as 500 and common difference is also 500. Number of terms we don't know, but the last term is 6,000. So with that we can find what is our n. When we know our last term, we can very well find what is our n, right? Once we got our n, we can find Sn because this is a AP. So 12% of Sn formula, n by 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 times the d. If you supply the values and simplify it, 12% means what? 12 by 100 of this. So this will give you the total interest. So the cost of the tractor is going to be 12,000 plus the interest, right? Hope you understood. So the complete task behind this problem is to find the interest what he paid till he completes its installment, right? And we found that it is an AP, we found the Sn formula and then we added the interest with the actual amount of the tractor, right? Hope you understood. Let us move on to our next question, 28. See, Shamshad Ali buys a scooter for rupees 22,000. He pays 4,000 cash and agrees to pay the balance in the annual installment. Rupees 1,000 plus 10% interest on the unpaid amount. How much will the scooter cost him? Exactly the same problem as 27. So I am leaving it to you. Let us see 29th. A person writes a letter to 4 of his friends. He asks each one of them to copy the letter and mail to 4 different persons with instruction that they move the chain similarly. Assuming that the chain is not broken and that it costs 50 paise to mail one letter, find the amount spent on the postage when 8th set of letter is mailed. This is like a situation where we will come across, in social media we will get a message saying if you forward this to 10 of your friends, a good thing will happen immediately in 9 seconds, 10 seconds, right? It is like that. He writes a letter to 4 of his friends and he asks all the 4 to mail to 4 different persons. Likewise, he asked to post it in a chain where the chain is not broken, and they ask how much amount is spent on 8th set of letter, right? So if you see the number of letters mailed is first person mailing to 4, then that is getting doubled, right? 4 square, and then again it is to 4 cube. Likewise it is moving on, right? So 8th set means 4 power 8, and clearly we can see this is GP, and we need to find the sum of all these, then only we will get total number of letters, because the cost for postage of one letter is given as 50 paise. So if we know the total number of letters, we can multiply the total by 50 paise, that will give you the total cost involved in posting these number of mills, right? You know SN formula, you can substitute and get your answer. Now let us see 30th question. A man deposited rupees 10,000 in a bank at the rate of 5% simple interest annually. Find the amount in 15th year since he deposited the amount, and also calculate the total amount after 20 years. Amount in 15th year and amount after 20 years they asked you to find out. Simple interest. This problems we have done it in simple interest in lower classes. Now we are going to see how we can solve this using sequence and series. So rate of interest is 5%. Hope you know the difference between simple interest and compound interest. Simple interest means what they will do, the principal amount, the principal value will remain same every year. If it is going to be calculated annually, the interest alone will be added to your principal amount. The amount deposited is 10,000, and every year say 5% interest means if they are getting 500 rupees as interest, 500 will be added every year. But what compound interest will do, this 10,000 plus 500 will become 1,500. For this 1,500 they will calculate 5% interest for the next year, and for that amount they will calculate 5% interest for the very next year. Likewise it will get increased, right? Simple interest means only the interest will be calculated only for the principal value every year, right? Now let us see how can we find this. So the amount deposited is rupees 1,000, rate of interest is 5%. So amount in 15th year and after 20 years we need to find. So interest per year is going to be amount into 5%, so it is going to be rupees 500. So amount in 15th year is going to be the principal amount plus 500 for how many years? 14 years, because we are in 15th year. We are in 15th year, so 500 for 14 years and including this, right? So in 15th year they will get this much amount. How will you calculate this? This is simply you can calculate 1000 plus 14 into 500. You can multiply and then add, that will give you the answer. But amount after 20 years, how much it is going to be? 1000 plus 500 for 20 years. Because after 20 years is completed, right? So 500 you have to multiply it for 20. So this can be written as 1000 plus 20 into 500. You can get your answer. Yes. Let us move on to our 31st question. Here manufacturer reckons that the value of a machine which cost him rupees 15,625 will depreciate each year by 20%. Find the estimated value at the end of 5 years. This also we have done in compound interest, appreciation and depreciation. Now let us see how can we solve this problem here. So cost of the machine is 15,625 and depreciation percentage is 20%. So 20% of its value is getting reduced. So what is the cost of machine every year? 80% of the original cost. 20% less than, what does it mean? 80% of the cost. What is 80%? 80 divided by 100, which is 4 by 5 of this 15,625. So value at the end of first year, how much it will be? 4 by 5 of this. For the second year, 4 by 5 of this amount, right? 4 by 5 of this amount. Third year, 4 by 5 of this amount. Likewise, at the end of fifth year, 4 by 5 times you will get multiplied by 15,000. 625. Right? So this is simple calculation. You have to multiply and get your answer. Hope you understood. Every year it is 4 by 5 of the previous year's value. That's why it is 4 by 5 of this previous year. 4 by 5 of this previous year. So 4 by 5 we will get 5 years. Yes. Now we are in the last question. 150 workers were engaged to finish a job in a certain number of days. 4 workers dropped out on second day. 4 more workers dropped out on third day, and so on. It took 8 more days to finish the work. Find the number of days in which the work was completed. I asked this question in the weekly test, so I need to explain it here. They have given 150 workers completes a work in certain number of days, and it is given 4 workers are dropped out every year, every day 4 workers dropped out. So initially there were 150 workers, and then the second day it has become 146 because 4 workers dropped out. Then the very next day 4 more workers. Likewise it is getting dropped out. If it is getting dropped out, it takes 8 more days to complete the work. I repeat, 150 workers takes X days to complete the work. Yes, so one information we got. The second thing they are saying, if 4 workers dropped out every day, it takes 8 more days to complete the same task completed by 150 workers in X days. So how can we express this in statement? 150 workers took X days. So 150 into X will same as 150 plus 146 plus 142 plus etc. How many terms? X plus 8 terms, because we don't know how many workers are left out. It took 8 days more than X days. Right? So the task completed by 150 workers in X days is same as completed by these number of workers in X plus 8 days. Right? So this is clearly an AP with first term 150. Your common difference is minus 4 because it is going to be 146 minus 150, 142 minus 146, and n is X plus 8. So if you apply SN formula, you can solve for your X. Hope you understood. So with this, let us wind up today's class. I have explained all the problems till 32. So I want you to complete the miscellaneous exercise from question number 16 to 32 without fail. Right? And if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Thank you, students.